Whoa, it's back. Guess what? Upset meter. Yes, it is. It is back. What are the rules? 4 teams, 10-point spreads or greater. That's it. Those are the only 2 rules. So we got 4 teams picked out here. Air Force, I believe they're 11-point favorites against Navy on the road in Annapolis. Because of the way that those 2 teams play football and the total being 36.5, a low total, I think inherently this game has a chance to be real close. I put this one in sweating territory for that reason alone. Also, huge rivalry. Are you serious? You don't think Navy's going to get up for this game? I believe Navy's quarterback's been injured. Uh, I don't know the status of his health, or even if he played last week, but or maybe I'm thinking of Army's quarterback. Goodness gracious, I don't know. But either way, Air Force is an absolute wagon. But guess what? Rivalry games on the road, man. Rivalry games on the road. When the pace of the game is slowed down too, anything can happen.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't say I would go ahead and just bet Navy money line. I do think rivalry game, like you said, style of play matters in terms of trying to separate on a team. Maybe that happens, maybe that doesn't. And then you get into the fourth quarter, and who knows in a rivalry game, especially at home, if you're Navy there. We talked about last week with Air Force playing Wyoming. We gave a lot of credit to obviously the quarterback, Dwayne Max there, but the fullback, Emmanuel Michelle. It's been awesome. Navy's got a damn good fullback in their own right, right? Alex Teska has been awesome. 62 carries. They're feeding him the rock there. He's got a 75-yard run on the year. He's got some wheels on him. Obviously, while Navy's schedule in terms of their wins has not been very impressive, they've beaten two Division I football teams that are just not very good, right? In North Texas and Charlotte, respectively. But who knows, man? The last time a lot of people watched Navy, and I'll be honest, the last time I probably watched a Navy game was when they played Notre Dame, right? And who knows here? They get Air Force coming off a high, right? And Navy get a nice win last week against Charlotte. Who knows, man? Who knows? I think
Yeah,
it's something to monitor for sure.
I
But
watched
luckily for Air
Navy.
Force, I will say Air Force real quick. It's on a conference game, so like if you're worried about Mountain West standings here, it's not going to implicate that obviously, but it's something to monitor.
Yeah, I watched Navy play Memphis, and they looked pretty good in that game. Granted, they lost, but they shouldn't have. They should have won that game. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna go ahead and put this guy in sweating. Michigan on the road, 24.5-point favorites against Michigan State. Huge rivalry, obviously. East Lansing, tough barn. But man, 2 teams trending in opposite directions right now. I think this is pretty cold, if you ask me. I don't care how big the rivalry is. I think these are just two teams in just way different tiers.
I couldn't agree more. I did think 2 years ago this game was fantastic. Everybody remembers Kenneth Walker game, Michigan State beating Michigan, but it's a lot different team. I think from Michigan's side of the ball side. Wow, from the Michigan side of the coin, and obviously Michigan State's had a rough year. They blew that game last week to Rutgers, where you thought they were maybe playing a little bit better. Couldn't close that game. Lost 4 straight on the year. I don't think, even though they're at home, even though it's a rivalry game, I'm not too worried about this game.
I agree. I'd say we just stick them there. Nebraska playing against Northwestern. Was this they also 11-point favorites
Yep, at home.
at home? At home is a big deal. Northwestern, not a very good football team. Not a very good football team. But inherently, though, the way Nebraska plays, there's still a chance for Northwestern. I think it's a mild chance. I think it's a very, very mild chance. Harburg's been playing okay. In fact, Nebraska's gonna be hungry to win this game because they go over. They'll be 4-3 if they win this game. Matt Rule's
which
first
is
year.
which is pretty darn good considering how it probably started with the Colorado fiasco, losing to Minnesota, and then obviously getting blown up by Michigan. Are they going to go bowling this year? They got a real chance to do that, and it starts with beating Northwestern. It really does at home. They get a bye week. There's no excuses. If you're Matt Rule, if you're Scott Frost, they probably lose this game, right? But if you're Matt Rule, you have to win this game, right the ship, continue to make progress in building this new culture and momentum that Nebraska's trying to face.
I agree. I agree. So I'll stick it in mild. I think it's more so because they want this game, man. They want this game pretty bad.
I will add to it though. The reason why we're covering it obviously is because it's a 10-point game. Um, Nebraska, with all due respect to them, we just talked about how they beat Iowa or Illinois a couple weeks ago, right on the road. But they're not a good football team, and when you're not a good football team, especially your offense, right? It's hard. It's very easy to lose games, right? And we saw Northwestern; they stuck around a little bit in that Minnesota game. Granted, that was at home, obviously, and they won and they pulled off an upset and won a Big Ten game. I don't think that'll happen here, but I do think that stuff can happen. It wouldn't shock me by any means, but I'm not going to pick it to happen at all.
Coastal Carolina on the road. Who do they play, you ask? None other than Jalen Rayner and the Arkansas State Red Wolves, led by the Butch Jones. This one I have. This is more than sweating. I think Jalen Rayner has been unbelievable. Now he's been unbelievable at home. They played Troy last week, or was it maybe 2 weeks ago? Uh, Obviously, Summerall's going to get his boys fired up. That was a really good defense, especially you're going to put that on a freshman. That's tough. Coastal Carolina's defense is not Troy's defense, and I don't know how well this offense is operated under Tim Beck. I get Sam Pickney is an obviously a fantastic player. Grayson McCall, fantastic player. I think this one has a real chance of shocking some Chanticleers for sure. So I think that this is above sweating.
I agree. I'm right there with you. I do think, while Coastal Carolina has got some nice wins on their belt, obviously App State, maybe not the App State of years past, but it's still a good win on the road there. That Jacksonville State win continues to look better and better somehow, with Rich
Yeah,
Rod and those guys continuing to win football games. But Arkansas State, I think Jalen Raynor, if you follow 24/7, right? They just put an article about midseason true freshman teams, and he was on it on the first team offense. He was the quarterback there. If you've been listening to Redshirt Sophomore, you should know about Jalen Raynor, right? He's been on Dawson Designer a couple times. As a true freshman there, he's been a gem. He's been a gem there. Totally revitalized that offense and that program there, because it was not looking good. After 2 weeks, it was tough. And he comes in and they've been playing pretty darn good football, right? And I do think at home, like you said, with Butch Jones there, I think they got a real chance to to pull this one off and then get their way to 4-2, or I'm sorry, 4-3, and have a real chance to make a bowl game, right? Which would be awesome.
that'd be
And probably save Butch Jones' job.
a wild turn of events based on what we saw at the beginning of the year.
Yep.